Hey, what's up YouTube? This is the Merman Master coming at you guys from the Team Time Riders YouTube channel. And today we're rocking out with Adrian Gecko. That's right guys, we have a brand new deck profile for you, a new character deck profile of the one and only Adrian Gecko. This is going to be the beginning Adrian Gecko, who is running Cloudians, a deck that I think is overdue for brand new support. Kind of a forgettable deck by most people, but nevertheless very, very interesting in its strategies, interesting in the fact that they're fairy waters, so they can utilize support from both decks. But this is going to be more character focused. So I'm going to go through like a couple of the strategies here to start things out. So we're going to first start this deck out with an Adrian Gecko original. This card is a huge extender. Its name is Cloudian Storm Dragon, and you have to run it at 3. Basically, Storm Dragon's special ability goes as follows. You can banish any Cloudian from your graveyard to special summon this card to the field. And he's a nice level 4, and once per turn, you place a cloud counter on any monster on the field. These cloud counters are actually quite important because they allow your Cloudian cards to gain their effects. So starting out with that Storm Dragon, he's good for placing the counters and also good if you want to do rank 4s. But this is not a deck focused around that, so we're not going to be going into much detail about it. One of the things I also want to note about Cloudian monsters is when they cannot be destroyed by battle while they're in attack mode, and if they're switched to defense mode by any way, shape, or form, they're automatically destroyed. So that's their like sort of common effect that they have for all of them. Next card we're running is 3 copies of Cloudian Zero Stratus. Now this card is really great because when it comes to the field, it gains cloud counters equal to the number of Cloudian monsters you control, including itself. So if you control a Cloudian monster and you normal summon this card to the field on either your next turn or with one of the cards in the deck that allows you to do so, this monster will gain 2 cloud counters. The good thing about this is you can remove cloud counters from Cloudian Zero Stratus to destroy any spell or trap, or no, any monster card on the field. That's a very, very good play. I do not know, however, whether or not this card targets due to the fact that it has old wording and it hasn't been reprinted, but that's pretty much what you use him for. Very, very good card and good to have in here at 3. The next card in here at just 2 is 2 copies of Cloudian Acid Cloud. Exactly the same as Zero Stratus, except with a lower attack, and instead of destroying monsters, it destroys spells and traps. Now, getting on to one of the best of the level 4 Cloudian monsters in this entire deck, it's going to be a triplicate set of copies of the one and the only Cloudian Altus. Now, what makes Cloudian Altus good is because instead of 2 counters, you can ditch 3 counters from this card to discard a card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Now, you might not think that's too good, but discarding has actually become better than destroying. Hand manipulation is better than just getting your monsters off the field. And the great thing about this card is that, unlike the other cards, it can pull counters from anywhere. The good thing about Cloudians is their effects to pop or their effects like Altus Discard are not once per turn. So if you're using your Cloudian Altus to discard a card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, as long as you have the cloud counters you need, Cloudian Altus will be able to, one Cloudian Altus can deal with your opponent's entire hand. And the fact that it can grab the counters from everywhere rather than just the counters currently placed upon it is one of the things that brings it above all of the other Cloudian monsters in the deck. The next card we have in the deck is 3 copies of Cloudian Nimbus Man. He is your big boss monster of the deck, still with the same Cloudian abilities, but the thing that separates him apart and the thing that makes him an Adrian Gecko classic is the fact that you can summon him by tributing any number of Cloudian monsters you control. And for each Cloudian monster you tribute, this guy gains a fog counter. Now, the real part is, for every fog counter on the field, not just on him, he gains 500 attack and defense, I believe it is. Yes, 500 attack. It gains 500 attack for each fog counter on the field. So if you have a massive field full of Altus and other cards that gain you massive amounts of fog counters, Nimbus Man can get quite large. Very, very good card. And definitely something to be wary of, and can end games quite fast in the right situation. The next card we have is 2 copies of Cloudian Ghost Fog, another Adrian Gecko original. The one thing that is an issue with this card is it cannot be special summoned, but you don't take any battle damage, and when it's destroyed by battle, you basically get to add fog counters equal to the level of the monster that destroyed it to that monster, or among any face-up monsters on the field. So that's a very, very good card. Still a little bit slow. Not unlike this one, the one and only Cloudian Sheep Cloud. Cloudian Sheep Cloud has a very similar, if not the same kind of effect. When it's destroyed, it places 2 special summoned Cloudian Sheep or Cloudian tokens special summoned in any position on the field when it's destroyed by battle. Very, very good for some of the other cards, which I'm going to show you. Now, that's it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells and traps. And remember their abilities: Water Fairies, indestructible by battle, switching to defense mode, blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't be a perfect deck without 3 copies of Cloudian Squall. And Cloudian Squall is going to be one of your main ways of generating fog counters on your monsters. And what Cloudian Squall does is, during each of your standby phases, add 1 fog counter to every face-up monster on the field. And it doesn't target, so even things that you think might be impervious to it, such as Blue Eyes Alternative, or Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, are affected by Cloudian Squall. And the more counters you have on him, the bigger your Nimbus Man gets, the more discards you have with Altus. And if you have multiples of these cards, they stack. So instead of 1, each one will get 2. And you can actually get quite a lot of advantage off of having multiple Cloudian Squalls on the field, continuously generating your fog counters. Next card we have on the field is Fog Control. Now this card, what makes it really great is the fact that you can use Fog Control to target a monster that would be destroyed and send that Cloudian monster to the graveyard and place 3 fog counters among on any one face-up monster. So really, really good for generating fog counters with your tokens or with other things that are special summoned. Basically, you could put a bunch of fog counters onto things like your Cirrostratus or your Acid Cloud, which can't gain fog counters by themselves once after they're summoned, or can't pull fog counters from other face-up cards on the field. Now, the piece de resistance of the deck is this card right here, Cloudian Aerosol, a brand new piece of support card that is hopefully the shape of things to come. The cloud allows the Cloudians to storm onto the field, because basically what it does is it allows you to discard 1 Cloudian from your hand to the graveyard to target a face-up monster, and then have that monster gain fog counters equal to the level of the Cloudian you discarded. Really, really good, and can get some effects off on that respect. But the one thing that really kills this card, it absolutely kills this card, is the fact, first and foremost, that I guess it's a spell, so you can't activate its effects, but it's a hard once per turn, and not to mention, its effects are each hard once per turn. So if you activate one of the effects of Squall, you can't activate the other effect of the Squall in the same turn. Its other effect is actually quite good. By banishing it, you can special summon any Cloudian monster you want from the deck. And one of the go-tos, of course, is Nimbus Man. But during the turn you activate this, first and foremost, you must have a Cloudian to discard, and then when it's in your graveyard, banishing it to special summon a Nimbus Man. You can't do that until the turn after it's sent there, which is very, very difficult to get around, and one of the things that really hampers this card. Still, though, it's a piece of good Cloudian support, so it has to be run. The next card we're running, of course, Adrian Gecko style, is 3 copies of Lucky Cloud. Now, Lucky Cloud is a stackable draw 2 spell card that if you control 2 Cloudians of the same name that you summon that turn, you can activate your Lucky Cloud, even if those Cloudian monsters are removed. During the end phase of that turn, you will draw 2 cards from your deck. Lucky Clouds also stack with each other. So if you've got 2 or 3 Lucky Clouds and you get 2 Cloudians with the same name, such as those tokens, or you get multiple copies of some of the other stuff onto the field, Lucky Cloud will allow you to draw 6 cards or whatever during the end phase, depending on how many you have. Kind of a tough card to use, but an Adrian Gecko original nonetheless. Of course, you couldn't have Lucky Cloud without Summon Cloud, a once per turn special summon from the hand if you control no monsters. So you special summon, if you have 2 Cloudians of the same name, special summon one to the field as long as it's level 4 or lower, and then normal summon the other, and you have enough space to activate your Lucky Cloud. The one unfortunate thing about this card is that when Cloudian monsters are special summoned, they will not get their effects to gain fog counters. So that is quite a problem that might need to be addressed. The other thing is that you can send this card, and instead of special summoning the Cloudian from your hand, you can grab the Cloudian from your graveyard, provided you tribute your Summon Cloud. Now, one of the ways that you can help get your Lucky Clouds and stuff off is with a good old double summon. Nothing like summoning 2 Cloudians as a normal summon, rather than special summoning them to the field, this way allowing them to get the cloud counters that they would have missed if you special summoned. And to round things off, we've got 2 copies of Sanctuary in the Sky. Obviously, your Cloudians are going to be in attack mode, because they cannot be in defense mode, that you would take a lot of damage. But Sanctuary in the Sky comes in and protects them, as they're all fairies. It's a fantastic card in this deck, and actually I would argue even better than in its dedicated deck, because Sanctuary in the Sky really puts in a lot of work protecting your Cloudian monsters from any kind of damage. And as long as Cloudians still retain the same playstyle, even if a retrain is created for agents or something similar like that for counter fairies, Sanctuary in the Sky, the original version that I have right here, is still going to probably be used in its own way in this deck. And the final card we've got is a good old Diamond Dust Cyclone. This is a destroyer. Basically, destroy any monster with cloud counters, and you draw one card for every 4 counters the card had. So this is great for tributing your Cloudians with a lot of counters to draw more cards, or even popping your opponent's monsters with lots of cloud counters and drawing cards, drawing 1 to 2 cards off of that. It's a nice quick play spell, so works quite well. Now moving on to the trap cards. The first thing we're going to start out here is with Rainstorm. Pretty cool card. Has 2 separate effects, if you guys can see right here. Its first effect basically allows you to reduce the attack power of one of your Cloudian monsters by 1,000 points to destroy a spell or trap on the field. And if you reduce it by 200, you destroy 2 spell or trap cards your opponent controls. So the more attack points you lose, the more spell and traps you're able to destroy. So a very good card, and definitely something that Adrian Gecko ran. Why run MST when you could run Rainstorm? Next is Natural Disaster. This is another card that he activates that allows him to inflict damage every single time a card is destroyed and sent to the grave by the effect of a Cloudian monster. Of course, the only 2 cards that can destroy cards are the Cirrostratus and the Acid Cloud. So you got to rely on those guys for natural disasters, but you've got other Cloudian cards in there that will be able to help you. The next card we've got on the deck is good old Updraft. Updraft has the special power of being able to remove all cloud counters on the field and inflict 300 damage for each cloud counter removed. And if you have a bunch of cloud counters on the field and no way to deal with them or nothing to do with them, Updraft can come in, remove them all from the field, and inflict massive amounts of damage to your opponent's life points, hopefully bringing them closer to 0 than they would have been, and in range for your Cloudians to attack. The next turn is this card right here, the last card, the one and only Raging Cloudian, a Galactic God original. Raging Cloudian, if a Cloudian monster is turned to defense mode and destroyed by its own effect, the Raging Cloudian kicks in, special summons the monster in attack mode, and then places a fog counter on it and makes it indestructible by card effect, or it makes it unable to have its battle position changed. So guys, it's a 40 card deck, and that's going to wrap it up for the one and only Adrian Gecko's Cloudian character deck profile. If you guys like this profile, please let me know in the description below. And also, I'm always willing and open to suggestions for how to improve it. Cloudians are a very, very tough deck to build and make good. I'd prefer to have some kind of build that focuses around Lucky Cloud and Summon Cloud and things like that, but a lot of players who run Cloudians, I mean, as competitively as they can, will run things like Salvage, and Heart of Clear Water, and the, you know, just fairy support cards like the Valhalla cards and things like that, to basically give their Cloudians more of a chance to survive. There's also different link variants using Turbulence and Smoke Balls, but I decided to sort of lean away from that for a little bit for this deck to try and make it more focused, as putting Smoke Balls and the Cloudian Turbulences in this deck, I feel, at least in this current moment, Adrian Gecko never summoned any extra deck monsters with those cards, so it would not be a prudent play to make, given everything that we know about his deck and his strategies. But guys, that's going to about wrap it up for this Cloudian deck profile. If you guys liked it, please let me know in the comment section below, and we look forward to producing more Yu-Gi-Oh videos for you guys very, very soon. Thanks very much for watching, and this has been the Mermail Master, and I'm signing out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.